Hi, I'm Unemployed Al, and I'm going to start coming to you with these videos, a number of different subject matters. I happen to be uh, extremely knowledgeable in a number of different areas. I've been a computer technician for about maybe 24, 30 years, somewhere in there. Yeah, 24 to 34 years. It's like a six year span. All right. No, anyway, it's been quite a while, and I've worked with companies, and I went on my own as a computer consultant and worked for about maybe 20 20 years on my own. Anyway, I have extensive knowledge in gambling. That's why I have no money. But it's not because I gamble bad. It's just very difficult to win in gambling. Therefore, I'm trying to put a video together for you guys, and teach you some of these gambling techniques, and so you better your chances this way. These things took me lots of money and lots of time to learn. I've played many years of cards, maybe poker for over, oh geez, maybe 30, 40 years of poker. Uh, and that's in the poker casinos. And also with horse racing, I've probably been doing horse racing since I was born. Probably my dad took me to the racetrack when I was very young. But I learned it very thorough. I could read a racing form, and I could understand everything in the racing form, which are very complicated things to understand. I've created my own figures before. I've tried to go look at horses working out on the backside. I've done key races where you look for a horse that won, and sometimes every horse in that last race wins. That's called a key race. But anyway, we'll get into more detail on these different things. And love to fish. Very good at deep sea fishing, freshwater fishing. Worked on a deep sea boat for about maybe a summer or so as a pinhead. I was like 16 years old at that time. Also, can pretty much fix anything. Very good mechanic. I repair my own car. I've changed about 2 or 3 engines myself, and about 3 or 4 transmissions. Uh, Number of repairs and all that. I can pretty much repair anything. Computers, of course, that's my profession, and that's what I do best. Uh, so anyway, that's my introduction. Uh, and I hope you enjoy my channel. If you do, I have a Patreon page because I am unemployed. So I need to make some money and do something, even though I'm right on the edge of retirement anyway. Unfortunately, with no cash. So hopefully, I can be helped out at least to make a living and get by. All right. I appreciate your time, and thank you for all listening. Bye. Da, 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 da. I would have a graphic here, but because I'm unemployed now, I have no money, I have no graphics, I have no department. So, but I have the music. Da, 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 da. Today it will be the running of the 147th Kentucky Derby. The year is 2021, and it's a very competitive derby, and I'm going to try to help you guys out. We're going to go through every horse, examine it, and then at the end I'll go ahead and give you my picks. Unfortunately, this is very low budget, and I'm unemployed, so I have a Patreon page, and you can see that down below somewhere. And any donations would be greatly appreciated. Anything at all helps the bottom line. And I love you guys for that. So that hopefully you guys will help me out. Hopefully you use this information for good, and you can make some money. I've been gambling on horses for at least 50 years, and I've learned the sport inside and out as far as handicapping and reading the racing form and everything, and all the different angles and stuff like that to that nature. So anyway, the reason why I'm putting this video together, well, first off, let me tell you, I forgot the sign. I'm supposed to say this is this is the update, the last update, May 1st, the morning of the Kentucky Derby, which will be run approximately at 3:50 p.m. And so this is the update to it. It's the only update. it is on the day of the race. There is no previous video, so don't even try bother to look for it. I just decided to do this, 2 days before, and the reason why is because I spent so much time watching workouts for the past 2 weeks, because they're on YouTube, and I just keep watching all these workouts, listening to everyone's opinions, listening to all their judgments, the workout, the clockers, their opinions, and of course I have my own, and then I was thinking to myself, with the internet, there's so much technology out there, and there's so much information, and that's like right at our fingertips. Before, in 20 years ago, it's like you couldn't, you wouldn't be able to see every prep race or every race that horse ran in. Today's technology, you are able to go look back, watch every race. This is very powerful. Statistics, they keep statistics on everything. I think they even keep statistics on how many times the horse takes a shower. So I don't know. But anyway, the thing is that all that information's out there, and you can listen to YouTube, you listen to experts, you can learn all these things. There's lots to learn in this stuff, and it's really neat that you can learn these things. So I said, I'm spending all this time, I'm going to handicap it, I'm going to bet this Kentucky Derby anyway, so I might as well just spread some little knowledge to you guys, and hopefully you can use it. Sorry it's last minute, maybe you'll find a video later, and you missed out, but hopefully things work out. There's always lots of luck in horse racing, of course, and not everyone's gonna be a winner. It's like it's gambling, and gambling, rule number 1, never gamble with what you cannot afford to lose. That's rule number 1. So it's a game, and you enjoy it, and I've enjoyed it my whole life, and I've pretty much abided by that rule, and that's why, my pockets are empty. Also, too, I thought it was interesting because, being an Asian American, I've never seen any Asian American handicappers, and there's so many Asians that gamble and bet on horses and things like that. But, there's none there. So I said, okay, maybe I'll get on there. I'll start talking, I'm an American Asian. I was born in the United States. And, I have a fairly decent Pacific Coast accent, I would say, because of the friends that I hang around with. So probably easy to understand. Maybe that's why there's no other Asians. Maybe they're a little more difficult to understand their English, because it's broken and stuff like this. So anyway, so we'll go on here and go through some of these races and try to get you up, on it and understand some of it. Some of it probably go over your head. Don't panic about that. You can always Google things. Google's the smartest person in the room, and I have no problem with Googling things. I do it all the time too, because you can't know everything, but you can't know Google, and Google will know everything. Sometimes right, maybe sometimes wrong. I don't even know, but I'd say generally right. Okay. Because we can't lead people too far astray. Okay, so anyway, let's go through this race. There's 20 entries in this. It's a full field. It's the 147th running, and they basically they get all the best 3-year-olds in the country together, and they race the 3 races, which are Triple Crown races. The first, of course, being the Kentucky Derby, the second being the Preakness, and third being the Belmont Stakes, which is the longest distance. And they get in through what's a point system. They have a point system now where horses win certain races. They get a slew of points, and the top 20 points get to race in the Kentucky Derby. So that's basically how it works. Before, a while back, it was different, where it was more by purse money. But what that would do is, some horses would try to win a lot of purses in some real cheap track, and then the horse has no class, and the horse isn't that good. So that's why they changed from the purse money to who had the most purse money to this point system. So it's kind of creating a little bit interesting things, because we have a lot of horses that haven't raced that much, maybe 2 or 3 races, and now they're coming into the Kentucky Derby. They're not seasoned, so to say, and one of the knocks is No horse has won the Derby with only one race, prep race under their belt from the beginning of the year, which is from January 2021. So that's one of the knocks. But they got all these rules. They've always had them, and like some people say, hey, rules are made to be broken, and they do. Eventually, someone does do something. So, and it's a different system. Horses are different and all that. So, things can change quite a bit. That's the thing. So, with no further ado, let's go on here. And we'll cover each horse here. The first horse we're going to cover I'm going to cover them in order and post position so that you know what they are, and also the morning line odds. This is the odds that a racing secretary, or so-called an expert, tries to predict what the public is going to bet and what the odds it would go off at, so that it's not necessarily what they think is the best bet, but it's more of a guideline so that they know what the odds are, of the horse. And a lot of times it follows to how good they are in handicapper logic. Then you'll get a lot of action on different type of horses, which might bring the odds down lower. It's the more money bet on a horse, the more the odds are going to come down. That's basically what's happening on that. So anyway, let's go with the first race. Sorry. Horse post position number 1. Horse called Known Agenda. Known Agenda is morning line at 6-1, which means if you bet $1 on Known Agenda, I guess sometimes my Asian side kicks in and it's hard to mention words. I shouldn't say that. That's kind of well, we'll forget that. Anyway, Known Agenda. He won his last 2 races at Gulfstream Park. And he won the Florida Derby, which is one of the big prep races for the Derby. There's about 5 or 6 big prep races, and those give more points and more cash. So they get them into the Derby. So that way you get the better horses aiming for those particular races. So anyway, he won over a horse. He won by 2 lengths the Florida Derby over a horse called Soup and Sandwich. Soup and Sandwich is a horse that's been getting a lot of buzz lately. He's been working pretty good, apparently, from the clockers. A lot of people kind of like him as a long shot. But this horse, Known Agenda, beat him by 2 lengths, which is pretty handily. 2 lengths is 2 lengths of a horse, basically. So anyway, he's his last 3 speed figures are 101, 94, and 82. And let's see. Then last year, a horse called Hidden Stash beat him by 3 lengths. And then Brooklyn Strong beat him by 9 lengths. But that wasn't a sloppy track, so maybe he didn't like the slop. And then Highly Motivated beat him last year also by 2 lengths, but that was in his first start at 6.5 furlongs. Horses by Curlin. Curlin's a very popular sire right now. A lot of Curlins and Tappets are winning right now, even though a Tappet has not won the Kentucky Derby yet. But once again, rules are meant to be broken, and I'm sure a Tappet probably will win at the Kentucky Derby one day, if not today. Anyway, and so I mentioned these horses because these horse names that I'm mentioning now are in the same race. And there's a particular, with horses, certain horses can always beat certain horses. And there's a pecking order and a strength of each race depending on who beat who and where they raced and the speed rating and things of that nature. So you kind of have to go by, what they're doing like that, and who's the best and who's not, and things of that nature. So anyway, so basically, Known Agenda is also a mid-closer. I like to mention that fact because there's pace scenarios that come up with horse racing. If a horse runs very fast the first half of the race, a number of times the field will back up, and then the closer will come in and win. So a fast-paced scenario will help a closing horse. So I'm kind of like tell you whether they have speed or they don't have speed, whether they close or they don't. And he's kind of a mid closer. He kind of is in the middle, and then he comes up and wins like that. That's how he runs his races, better races, I should say. Uh, okay, so that's number one, the own agenda. Now let's move on to number two, Like the King. Like the King is a long shot of 50-1. His last speed figures are low, 94, 88, 91. They all were on what's called a all-weather track or a tapeta surface, which is basically kind of like a rubber track, so to say. They say They say that the tapeta is very similar to grass. So horses that run on the tapeta good usually run on the grass. And the rumor's been that Churchill Downs track is kind of like turf. It's kind of cuppy, gets cupped sometimes, and kind of turns into kind of like a turf thing. So he might be okay on this artificial track, but his times are kind of slow. Last race he beat a horse called Sainthood, who's a long shot also, by one length. He had trouble in a grade 3. He's a middle closer also, and he was purchased for $170,000 at OBS. And he's a mid closer, like I said. $150,000 is not a lot, but it's a substantial amount. Excuse me. Number 3 is Brooklyn Strong. He's also 51. Very great deal. They bought him for $5,000. He's over here in the Kentucky Derby now. He was 4 lengths behind Bourbonic and Dynamic won, which was in that race was called the Wood Memorial. That's another prep race, and he ran figures in his last 3 races of 88, 107, 91. The 107 was on a sloppy track, which he beat Known Agenda by 9 on a sloppy track. And Known Agenda is the 6-1 shot. He's sitting here at 50. There's some value here. Bourbonic and Dynamic one also. Bourbonic closed on the Dynamic one in the wood like a mad horse. Okay, so also Brooklyn Strong was running against a bias. I would say there was a bias at the Wood Memorial that day, and basically it looks like outside was like blazing. Horses were closing really good, and Brooklyn Strong was on the inside pretty much all the way around. So I think he was on the worst part of the track. So I would give him a chance at 50-1. He's kind of a good long shot. Number 4 is Keep Me in Mind. Also 50-1. He raced in the bluegrass. He was 16 lengths behind the favorite, Essential Quality, and highly motivated. But last year at the Breeders' Cup Futurity, he was second in the race against the favorite, Essential Quality. And he was ahead of Super Saver in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Let's see, the Breeders' Cup Juvenile was 2 lengths behind Essential Quality, and 1 length behind Hot Rod Charlie, which is the horse a lot of people are kind of touting as a price, Hot Rod Charlie. He's been working good. His speed figures are very low, 84, 86, 92. He's a closer, but he always seems to close against Essential Quality, who's the top horse. He's always close by, so he's got a long shot too at 50-1. It's something you might want to take a look at. That's Keep Me in Mind. It's the number 4 horse. The number 5 horse, Sainthood, 50-1. He was purchased for $62,000. Speed figures of 93, 88, 91, and he was 1 length behind Like the King, which is the horse that only had the 3 starts. Oh no, this horse is one of the horses that only had 3 starts. I'm sorry, he had 1 win in 2 seconds. They say he's been working good. He's a mid closer. Figures are a little low to win. He's not seasoned, only 3 races, but he's raced good in those races. They say he's working good, so maybe, but I'm not real big on him anyway. Number 6 is Obesos. He's 20-1. He was third, 2 lengths behind in the Louisiana Derby, which Louisiana Derby is another prep race. And that was behind Hot Rod Charlie. He's kind of like the horse that people are kind of on. And Midnight Bourbon. He had speed figures 94, 91, 88. Race before, he lost to Mandolin by 7 and Midnight Bourbon by 1.5. He's got good works. He had a really big gallop out in Louisiana Derby. If you go believing that gallop out stuff, closed, and he's a closer. Everyone's kind of on him as the long shot pick. All the experts like this Bezos as a long shot underneath, not to really win, but underneath. He's been getting better every race, which is a good sign. When horses keep improving every race, they keep improving. Sometimes they get a higher number the next time. So in this case, he started, his last race was a 94, before was a 91, before was 88. So he's definitely moving in the right direction. So that's a good thing, Obesos, number 6. Number 7 is Mandolin at 50. He's very well bred. He was the favorite in the Louisiana Derby, but he ran 11 lengths behind Hot Rod Charlie and Midnight Bourbon and Obesos. Okay. The race before he beat Midnight Bourbon by 1.5 lengths. The race before that he lost to Midnight Bourbon by 1 length. So they kind of switched back and forth. His speed figures are not too bad. A 94, 183 his last 3 races. He's a mid-closer. His last race was so ugly, and they know no reason. The trader doesn't know a reason why. He had no excuses. He just didn't fire that day, but they said they couldn't find anything wrong with him. He might just bounce back. If he bounces back, he could. He beat Midnight Bourbon before. Midnight Bourbon is a good horse also. So 15-1, maybe. Okay. Like I said, he's got to turn it around, and he switches off with Midnight Bourbon and him. But Hot Rod Charlie's, ahead of Midnight Bourbon, so. Okay, this is 7-horse Mandolin, 15-1. Okay, number 8 horse, Medina Spirit is 15-1 also. He was a $35,000 purchase. He was 4 lengths behind Rock Your World in the Santa Anita Derby. Rock Your World's the second choice in this race, and I believe 5-1. And he was 3 wide. He let Rock the World have the lead. It was a very small field, 5 or 6 horses. But he did run 3 wide through the whole race, around the whole track. And he started to close on him a little, but then Rock Your World found another gear and seemed to pull away. Possibly if he would have went onto the lead, which he could have probably took the lead, maybe he would have been closer. And I think, not being wide, he'd probably be right neck and neck with this horse. And maybe with that kind of a chance, the horse might produce better. So it's Medina Spirit. He's a very lightly raced horse. Medina Spirit is not lightly raced. He's raced in a number of races. He's the Bob Baffert entry, and everyone always says you gotta watch the Bob Bafferts, because he's won like 6 Kentucky Derbies, which is quite a bit. He's got Medina Spirit in there, and 15-1 is a great value bet. Speed figures 98, 93, 94. So he would kind of have to take a step forward. But that 98, like I said, it could be higher if he just had an inside trip. To race 3 wide. When he races 3 wide, he's got to cover a lot more ground. And that's what makes the difference there. Also, number of people do like Medina Spirit. Andrew Beyer, who does the Beyer speed figures for the Daily Racing Forum, likes him. So does Jay Privman, who's an analyst and writer for the Daily Racing Forum. Both of them have been in horse racing for many, many years. And the wide trip and all that, I could make a case for him. And he's got to get lucky through traffic. Even Bob Baffert said that. All these horses say that. All these trainers say that. You got a 20-horse field, and you need to break good, and you need to position yourself and get lucky. Hope the favorite runs into some issues, and he's there. So that's basically how it works like that. As far as it's really a lot of racing luck involved. If the horses get the right racing luck, some get bad luck, and The other ones get good luck and they end up winning. That's how it happens, and they get a price for that. So anyway, let's move on to number 9. Hot Rod Charlie. We talked about him quite a bit. You've heard his name a lot probably. He's 8-1. He's a $110,000 purchase. And basically, he beat Midnight Bourbon and Abyss by 2 lengths in the Louisiana Derby, which once again is another prep race, Louisiana Derby. Last race. And his last big figures are 96, 93, and 100. The previous race, Medina Spirit beat him by a neck and had trouble. Medina Spirit had trouble and bumped. And before, in the Breeders' Cup Juveniles, he was 3/4 of a length behind Essential Quality and 1.5 lengths ahead of Keep Me in Mind. He could do speed or he could close. He can go either way. He's a very versatile horse. That's why a lot of people are on him. Also, like I said, Byron Privet, like Medina Spirit, has kind of a long shot, but I think their top pick's going to be this Hot Rod Charlie at 8-1. Basically because he has a lot of options. He can go for the front end and he could close, so it gives him lots of options. But like I said, Medina Spirit did beat him and held him off too. It held him off pretty gamely. So if Medina Spirit's on her game and she gets a good break, she could pull the upset off. Okay, let's move on here. Number 10, halfway through the field, Midnight Bourbon, 20-1. He's a 25K buy. He's well bred. Like I said, Louisiana Derby is 2 lengths back from good old Hot Rod Charlie, number 9. The race before, he lost 2 lengths behind to Mandolin. Before that, he beat Mandolin by 1 length, and he beat Super Stack by 2 lengths last year. Super Stack's a long shot from him as Newsom Bar, owned by his parents. Speed ratings 94, 98, and 95. Okay, also Midnight Bourbon was a 525K purchase, so he's very well bred. So Midnight Bourbon has a lot of upside, so it's possible he could run a big race at any time. The speed figures could jump up. So he's not a bad long shot, and he's been close to Hot Rod Charlie, slightly behind, so there's a chance there. He has speed too, and Kentucky Derby has always favored speed. I believe the last 4 or 5 Kentucky Derbies, the horse turning in the stretch either first or second won the race, so no one's really passed the horses. But then again, there's always been a lot of rain at Churchill, and whenever there's rain, it's a muddy track. What they do is they pack the track down, which they call sealing the track, because they don't want the water to leak into the track. Because basically the racetrack has so many different layers of dirt, mud, sand, and rock, and drainage, things of that nature. So they pack it really tight. So whenever they pack this tight, it creates a really hard surface that's fast. So horses that have speed tend to hold on, and they have that speed, and they keep running, and they actually win. That's what happens. Okay, number 11, Dynamic One, 20-1. He's a $725,000 purchase, so he's very well bred. He was second by a head to Bourbonic in that slow Wood Memorial. The times were slow, but I looked over the bias on that track. Like I said, it was come from behind, and it was a very deep track, so they would be slow figures. His last figures are 94, 85, 88. Interesting about him is he took 4 races from the break to maidens, and then he goes and wins, or almost wins the Wood. But like I said, the outside come from behind bias, I think, got him basically too. And so he's working good. A lot of people like him, and he might be coming around to a big race. He could fire a big race just based off his bloodline and his breeding. So a lot of people are on this Dynamic, but much more than the Bourbonic. And Bourbonic's he's a 20 horse, and he's 20-1 also. They're both 20. So the race is really considered not very highly rated, but I think it's not a bad race because Bourbonic and Dynamic One have been racing against the favorite and the second favorites, and third, not the second favorite, but third favorite, like that. So anyway, let's go on. 12 is Helium at 50-1. He's a 55K buy. He's undefeated in 3 starts, 93, 86, 84 speed. He won the Tampa Bay Derby, which is a very weak race. They said no one came out of that race with any, good, so it was a pretty weak field. He was 1 length in front of Hidden Stash in the same race. He's a mid closer, so 50 to 1. People like him, how he's working, but I don't. I think I'm going to pass on him. He is undefeated though, so we never know. Sometimes the horses that they just like to keep winning, but he's racing against some really easy stock and not well seasoned. The 3 races once again. So that's Helium at 50 to 1, number 12. Number 13 is Hidden Stash. He's also 50 to 1. He's a 50K buy. Figures of 91, 93, 85. He was 10 lengths behind Essential Quality and Highly Motivated in the Bluegrass. He did get bumped, and then he lost to Helium by 1 length. So he's a closer. Everything's got to work right for him. Kent DeSormo's up. He's a great rider. He's veteran jockey, and he knows how to close. So you got a good jockey on board there. Everything will have to work out really good for him I'd say, to even get in the money. But it's horse racing, so we'll see what happens. Number 14 is your favorite, Essential Quality. He's well-bred for the Godolphin Stables. He's been undefeated for 5 starts. He already beat it Highly Motivated, Hot Rod Charlie, Keep Me in Mind, Super Stack, speed figures 102, 98, 101. He could speed or stock. He's definitely a good favorite. No knocks against Essential Quality, basically. The only thing they say is that his last race when he won, he barely got up past the other horse in time, which was a prep race also. Big prep race, he barely got up and won the race, but he did win the race, and I really think they weren't really trying that hard. They were just using it as, let's not hurt the horse. If we can win, we can win. If not, we're not worried about it. We're looking at the Kentucky Derby. That's the target. So I think they actually saved a lot of horse. He came out and worked at Kentucky, and some of the clockers weren't very impressed with him. So a number of smart guys, wise guys are trying to beat him. So he might be beatable, but he's 5-0, beat half of this field already. The only way it would be is if he completely bounced, but he's got high numbers consistently, pretty close to 100, which is not too many people in this field have that. So anyway, the next horse we're going to look at that's number 15, Rock Your World. He's at 5 to 1. He's the second choice on the morning line. He was a 650,000 purchase. So he's a very well-bred horse also. He's undefeated in 3 starts. He had 2 races on the grass because he's by Candy Ride. Candy Rides win a lot of times on grass at first coming. And then they decided to try the Santa Anita Derby on the dirt. Against Medina Spirit. Medina Spirit was a very low 3 to 5 favorite, and Medina Spirit went out to the lead. Rock Your World tracked about 2 lengths back. Medina Spirit set fast fractions, 46 for the half mile, and that's very fast, 46. Most of these horses usually do about 48 or more, and he did 46, which is very fast. And then when Medina Spirit tried to close on him in the stretch, he started to gain, but then he couldn't make up any ground. But he was 3 wide around the whole track, so, be it that if he gets a better trip, they're probably about even. So Medina Spirit's got a good shot in here if things work out right for her. But Essential Quality hasn't done anything wrong, has beat everybody pretty much, so, But this Rock Your World is undefeated, and he raced, against some tough speed up front and still came home with speed. So it's a very monster horse, monster work. He would have to bounce. If he repeats his effort, he will win. So we'll have to keep an eye on him. He's a very dangerous horse. Rock Your World at 5 to 1, 15 post. There was a knock on Rock Your World also by Andrew Beyer. He said that all the races at Santa Anita that day were speed horse winners. So it was very speed horse bias, and that's what Rock Your World did. Got out there on his own and controlled it. But in my book, he set such fast fractions up front, gave every chance Medina Spirit to close. He should have closed and beat her. I guess that's why Medina Spirit's at, it was Medina at 15 to 1. So, Medina Spirit had every chance, but like I said, Medina Spirit went wide around the track. Medina Spirit's the more seasoned horse, has to race against some of the better horses. He used Bob Baffert's like 6th or 7th pick for the Derby. It was the only horse that made it to the Derby for him, and they didn't even know that it was going to be a Derby horse. That's why he got it for $35,000. His assistant trainer at Los Alamitos noticed the horse and said, "Hey, you got to take a look at this horse. This special horse. But his other big top picks, Concert Tour and Life is Great, which were supposed to be big favorites in this Kentucky Derby, they just had their issues and problems. So I think Concert Tour, he's trying to point towards the Preakness. He says if he had one more week, he would have put him in the Derby, but he doesn't. So he's going with Medina Spirit, and they like him. So if Rock Your World, like I said, repeats, he wins. He could also be in for a bounce because he ran such a big race, So, or he could improve, and then he's a monster, But at the figures he put on last race, they were big. That's all I can tell you. 16 is King Fury. He was scratched, so we don't have to worry about him. 17 is Highly Motivated at 10 to 1. He was a $240,000 K-buy. Lost the neck to Essential Quality, who's the favorite in the Bluegrass, so he was second to him. He did beat Known Agenda, which is the one horse, at 6 to 1. Last year at 6.5, and he had a bad start. His speeding figures are 102, 102, 102, and he's got speed, or he has to be near the lead. He's definitely one you have to use. I mean, he's got 102, 102, 102. I don't even understand why, with these speed figures, he would be 10 to 1. The only thing I could think of that is because he lost to Essential Quality, and he had everything his way, and Essential Quality basically ran him down right at the wire, and that was a mile and 3/16. They're going another 16th of a mile, which is a mile and a quarter in the Kentucky Derby. So I think that might be the reason why. But he ran a huge race and consistent, 102, 102. Definitely a horse you want to use in your exotics. 17, Highly Motivated. Number 18 is Superstock, 30 to 1. They bought this horse for $70K. Steve Asmussen, the trainer, bought it for his parents. Parents got the horse for $70K. The horse won his first start with the son riding as the jockey, so they were really excited about this. And he won the Arkansas Derby, which is another prep race. And he beat Concert Tour and Caddo River, which basically Concert Tour was supposed to be the big, huge favorite here in Kentucky if he got here, but he didn't run very good there, or Superstock just ran a big race. Everything went his way, they say. That was his first Grade 1 win for his parents. They were thrilled, and Asmussen is thrilled, and it's a storybook story, of this horse. If he wins the Derby, it really will be. Essential Quality beat him by 5 lengths. Midnight Bourbon beat him in the race by 2 lengths. His speed figures are 97, 87, 92. He comes just off the lead. But I think he has a long shot based on the Arkansas and beating Concert Tour. I think that's kind of a big race. So, even though things did go his way, he still beat Concert Tour. But, no saying that if Concert Tour is going downhill or not. That's a possibility, too, in that race, because he didn't come back for the Kentucky Derby. But the horse is in shape and doing good. Okay, number 19 is Soup and Sandwich, which is a good diet, and it tastes good usually, but he's 30 to 1. He's well bred. He's only had 3 races, another lightly raced horse. He's only 2 lengths behind Known Agenda in the Florida Derby. Known Agenda's the rail horse. He has speed figures of 98, 90, and 98. I think he's another one underneath that has a good possibility. He's working good. He was really close to Known Agenda. Known Agenda didn't draw the rail. His morning line was 6 to 1. He's the third choice, but Known Agenda drew the rail, so he's not getting much attention. the horse, is a well-bred horse by Curlin, is known agenda. And Super Sandwich is right there next to us, near him. So, maybe not to win, but Air Exotics once again 30-1. The number 19 horse, Super Sandwich. And finally, number 20, Bourbonic, 30-1. Horse, the winner of the Wood. He came flying home on the outside, which I believe was outside bias because I watched Kentucky Oats today, Friday, and the horses that they closed also very well on that same day. They raced also on the same day of the Wood, and they had horses come flying home on the outside. But today at Kentucky, no one really came flying home on the outside. But the horse that did win was the favorite, and Second Choice did run second. Second Choice was at the Wood, and he ran, I think, really close to almost winning. And these are the female fillies I'm talking about. But I'm trying to use that race because it was on the same day as a benchmark of the slow race, but it really wasn't a slow race. Bourbonic also beat Dynamic One by a head in that Wood, but he did close for last, and basically he was racing in a lot of cheap races before he broke his maiden and got into the Wood. Speed ratings 94, 89, 83. Head in the right direction once again. Each speed figure is going up higher. That's a good thing. I think I forgot to give you speed figures on Super Sandwich. They're 98, 90, and 98. So he's close to that 100 figure, which is to me is probably about the key figure. 102 is get you in. These are Brisnet figures, just to let you know. They also have buyer figures. I didn't look at the buyer figures. These are pretty similar, and they also have a time form, which has ratings for them also. On the time form, they actually rate Rock Your World as the fastest horse, last race. And that's understandable because of the pace and everything. Bourbonic is a closer. He had the track outside bias, I believe, on that day, which helped him. So I kind of would probably prefer Dynamic One over Bourbonic. More expensive horse, has more upside, probably learning the game. I heard the horse is kind of a big horse, and he's working really good too. So now let's go on to the picks. Let's go on to my picks, and I'm also going to give you some of my friends' picks. I have a very close friend, and he's been betting horses with me for quite a while. Not a big bettor. He picks his spots, and he picks them pretty well, and he gets lucky. Gets lucky quite a bit, and he uses good logic, and he's got good system formula that he uses. So I'll probably share some of your picks because he's making me bet for him because he doesn't know how to bet on the computer very well. So I handle it for him. So anyway, so we're gonna give you his picks. I'm gonna give you my picks, and we will go from there. All right. Good luck to you guys. Okay, here's my friend's picks. We'll just call him Friend X. And Friend X, he's going to take the favorite, number 14, which is the Essential Quality, put him in the 1 hole, and then he's going to box in the 2 and 3 hole back and forth, the 15 and the 17. The 15 being the Hot Rod, not Hot Rod, the 15 being the Second Choice, Rock Your World, and the 17 being the Highly Motivated, who had all the 102s. So he's boxing that back and forth. That's kind of like what he would call his cold ticket because he got favorite, Second Choice, and actually the Highly Motivated is like kind of a fourth choice. But he's gonna triple up on that by a $3 trifecta on it. So his cost would be $6 for that ticket because he's going to go like 14, 15, 17, and then 14, 17, 15. And $3 on each pick. Okay, that's one of his bets. The second bet, he's going to do the 14 again on top. So basically, the 14 has to win for him to win this race. But 14's got a great chance, 2-1. And like I said, 5-0. Got the numbers. Everything looks good. Just like I said, he's a little lazy on the works, and people weren't happy how he won his last race. But I think there was a no try. They weren't pushing the horse, so You know, they were aimed for the Derby, and they're expecting a big performance out of him. And they say he doesn't work very good in the mornings anyway, so kind of a lazy horse, I guess. So on his second ticket, he's gonna. What he does here is they're all dollar boxes. So he goes with the 14, and then he bets a 14, and then he uses the 17 horse, which is the highly motivated, and he calls it a key. Key meaning that he's going to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 7 picks with the 17 horse in a long shot. And then he's going to box the long shot back and forth. So his first pick is 14 with the 1 and 17. So he'll go 14, 1, 17, and then 14, 17, 1. So it's a $2 combination on each box. So he's using that. Then he's going with the 14, 17, 7. And then he's going with the 14, 17, 8, 14, 17, 9, 14, 17, 10, 14, 18, 17, 18, and 14, 17, 19. And then, of course, backwards on all of those for $2 on each pick. So it's a dollar trifecta on each one. And that totals up to $14. So his total bet is a $20 bet. So, you know, we'll see what he comes back with. If the 14 wins, he's probably got a good shot at winning, because the key horse 17, like we said, he's running those 102s. It's a very good bet. I'm probably might even do this. I think I'm going to probably do the same bet too. I'm going to have a cold ticket like that, or a ticket where I think the favorites that are going to win, and bet that one with a little more cash. Like to me, it's like a 14 with the 17 and 15. Rock Your World. You know. Basically, what my friends got, maybe I'll throw those two on top and box it back the other way. Throw 17, 15, put 14 in the 2 hole, just in case, something happens to the 14 and he runs second. One of those two probably pick up the pieces. The other one would probably be in third, so then, you cash the trifecta that way. And it probably pay pretty good that way, as long as the favorite doesn't win. Favorite wins might not pay as much, but, I might play both. Those are possibilities yet. The other thing is to take in and use the 17 once again in long shots underneath, the same way my buddy did it. But I'll probably use different long shots. I'm looking at he used the, let's see, 1, 7, 8, 10, 18, 19. 1, 7, 8, 9. 1, 7, 8, 9, 10, 19. Okay, so I have 11, and I have a 6 and a 4. So 11, 6, and 4, I could probably add to those picks that he had. I think are in there that are possible that could jump in there. So it's a good value race. One of these bigger prices jump in there with it, and you box it with that 17 horse that's got all the 102s. I mean, he might just win the race too. But if he doesn't, he should be right there, second or third. He's very consistent. So, and that would probably be the bet right there, So basically, I'm looking at like a cold ticket and a box with long shots to cover the rest. So good luck on the Kentucky Derby. Hopefully you guys win. You use whatever knowledge you can, whatever I said. Pick out the important things. Also, there's going to be a web link for my Patreon page, and any donations would be greatly appreciated. And hopefully if you win some money, you can kick me down something, and we'll try to get some picks in for the Preakness. Try to get them to you a little earlier this time, now that I'm doing this. So enjoy, have fun, and good luck at the races.